fall, we relaunched a campaign to get the co-op more in focus. And Esther Ford and Maria Levita were our two key people, and we recruited a group of young people.
They managed to knock on every door in the community and have one of the highest voter turnouts in the history of the Atkinson Co-op.
And what the young people discovered was that there was cynicism among the adults, but there was a feeling that there needed to be change.
They've experienced a lot of negativity, and they've made a conscious choice to make a change.
They were telling us that they were going to have an election for the board committee, and they asked me if I would like to be involved, and I said I would love to do it.
And what emerged was a slate of young people running for the board of directors. They ran for 5 of the 6 positions and won all 5 they ran for.
Requires is that whole section to be excavated.
It started like a whole revolution. You know, it's good. We get to decide kind of what goes on in our, alongside with the elders, because usually they decide for us. Now we get to show how responsible we are.
I wanted to be able to influence and hopefully take this co-op in a better direction.
The youth have learned about democracy, and they mobilized, and they handled the democratic process. And it was just, there was no stopping them.
It's been challenging at times, but it's something that is quite fulfilling, having to give back to your community in a small way. If you're a young one that grew up here, you'll have more of attachment. You want to do more for the community because your neighbors, the kids around you, you see the people that grew up with you.
It opens your eyes to the rest of the world and how things really work, because growing up you see something, you always complain, and as you get older you start to realize how it really is,
A lot different than I expected. I never realized that we had to deal with the budget. We have to deal with real life situations where it's very, very political. Regardless of how I feel about the subject, I can't be biased. I got to come here with an open mind.
I just have to tell you that the intelligence of these young people I find absolutely overwhelming.
We have a tremendous core group of leaders right now in our community, between the ages of 18 and 22. They have credibility within the community amongst the young people, which is very important.
Now we have to let the old folks, the old people know that these young people are not a threat. These young people want to pick up the ball from them and carry it a little further.
As a community, you got to work with all ages. You can't separate the youth with the youth and the elderly with the elderly. They combine together.
And it's my belief that the young people are not only looking to provide leadership and a better place for young people, but for the entire community.
It's still a very challenging community in terms of the nature of being downtown. It's very high risk for young people growing up, and there's a lot of temptation and a lot of avenues that they can take that have negative consequences.
And so now that there's programs for the community within the community, it can change how things go. There's always something for them to do instead of falling into things that they shouldn't do.
And they need activities in the co-op. They need some things happening right in their own backyard.
Growing up, you always want to feel a part of something. So when you have a team of basketball players, you develop relationships with each other, and it just becomes like a place where you like to be.
I am involved with the Men of Honor. We get together, socialize, we try to find out what they want, and try to tailor our meetings to them.
They're able to number one, be surrounded by older men, some elder youth that they look up to as well. It's important that they have a chance to have that dialogue very openly and very candidly with men that they can trust.
We just want to try and let them know that this society is something that they're going to be a part of, and just trying to get them equipped, because there's no running from it.
Faisal Lehman is a resident of the Sonny Atkinson Co-op.
Most recently, we celebrated our young people winning diversity scholarships put forward by CHFT.
This year, there'll be 5 people winning scholarships from this community. So 18 out of the 71 scholarships that we've awarded will go to Atkinson.
Marianne Osman, I am so proud, so honored, and so privileged to give you this.
It was very exciting because I was always wondering how would I pay for university, and how was I going to go there? And it was a big issue for me. And now that I've got it, I feel like I'm capable of doing so many other things.
Marianne is so mature and mentors, particularly the young women. Her and I do some work with the young women in basketball, and Marianne is great with them. She knows how to speak directly to them. But when they look at Marianne, they see somebody who's graduating, who's on the honor roll, who has a part-time job, who's going to university and is a scholarship winner. I believe that the young people are not our leaders of tomorrow, that they will be the leaders today. In the 70s, very few people were willing to take on the Public Housing Authority, but Sonny was, and Sonny, he was a leader.
Mr. Atkinson was an amazing man. He was a doer and not a talker. Mr. Atkinson knew everybody in this neighborhood. He was a community builder.
So when he showed up at our annual meeting, I think it was in '92, to find out more about housing co-ops, it was great to see him.
His legacy and the movement that he's created is still going on. His vision and his dream is alive, and it will thrive.
Some of what you've seen in the last 6 months is just a culmination of all the work that has gone into the community over the years.
I told them in the beginning, don't expect to see any significant change in the first 10 years. We're 5 years into it, and I think that we've turned the corner.
I was describing the neighborhood as being on life support. This youth groundswell is pretty much taking it off life support. The neighborhood's starting to breathe on its own again.
There's a lot more pride. People are happy to say that, yes, I'm from Atkinson Co-op, this is my community, and people are proud.
I like the unity of the community, you know, like just the fact that everyone in the community comes together, everybody knows each other. It's a nice place to be, it's very warm.
To see how people are so excited and so moved to help the neighborhood, and that they're so smart and that they get to put it forth and show that this is what they're made of and this is what they want to do.
We don't give attention to negative behavior anymore, and we celebrate the ones that come out of this community and dream big. We're just proud of them and what they do, because they're excellent, great role models for kids in this community, and we're hoping that they can be role models for children, young people in the city.
And I tell the city councilors, you better look out, because if these children can mobilize and sweep this neighborhood, if they ever decide to get behind one of their own, look out.
I feel incredible. I feel great about what's happening. We've had incredible support from the Cooperative Housing Federation, Toronto.
This is the most diverse city in the world. It's a very successful city, and unless we invest in youth and in diversity, then we're not really investing in the future of the co-op housing movement. I think that this isn't just about Atkinson Co-op, this is about the whole housing co-op movement.